You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I'm Luna Snow. Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
I'm not anyone's sidekick. What I do is best done alone. As long as there's still something worth fighting for, I'll be on the front lines.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Hey, Thor, let me see the hammer.
No.
I just want to see if it'll charge up my gun. Come on, I'll give it back.
No.
Come on!
I've tagged a potential hotspot. All eyes on these coordinates.
I am Groot.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Time has claimed a lot of good soldiers. I won't let it take any more.
Awaken fury and smash the foe! I am Groot!
That's better. Always glad to help, partner. Heads up, they got a sniper.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
We make a good team. Back in action. Wakanda gave us a mission. Let's see it through.
Sniper! We're in their sights.
The wrath of Asgard! I am Groot!
You're dirty, sniper.
Here they come.
Your powers are mine!
By the eye of Agamotto!
Double
Been knocked down
KO!
before. Doesn't last.
But it's roughly the same size, carries the same amount of ammunition. Also, completely sightings of it included in XM-157 optics like the S-2. Most recent sightings have a couple of them
Plasma burst!
Sniper! This is where we part ways, Clint.
Double KO! Now that's some King energy. The vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up.
By the eye of Agamotto!
miss.
Mighty bite to start.
Fire!
Through the Hall of Bastion.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way.
That's what I needed.
Time to go nuts.
I always come back.
Fast. Great. Victory. I am through. You hunt well for your age.
T'Challa needs this fancy statue.
We are undefeatable!
Dangerous! Thanks for the upgrade, Rocket.
We are in the front. Prepare yourselves.
Us against the world!
So close! It's your big chance!
I am Asgard Might.
I'll patch you up.
Dark magic. This sacred card must reach
Always glad to help, partner. Nothing personal. No need to reload? Nice.
By the eye of Agamotto! Fast! Grace us with victory!
We make a good team. T'Challa needs this fancy statue.
Hell unleashed!
No need to reload?
I'll patch you up.
Nice. Armed and dangerous!
Another epic victory! Big
This moment might have changed the photographer's career forever. This was a conclusion that he could never have and he never wanted. Famous celebrities like Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Madison Beer, Benson Boone, Olivia Rodrigo, and Cynthia Erivo all took part in this unique ceremony. Some of them were longer than others, but they all managed to find a counterpart at the end. And to showcase the final result, we have Billie Eilish. Like this if you want to see the signatures from the other celebrities. This is my version. Biggest this was done at the Grammy Awards, and the photographer was
Do you know about those useless superpowers? One Red Skull, like Captain America, Red Skull was also enhanced by the Super Soldier Serum. After being transported to Vormir, he became... This one. No, what is seriously scary? Isn't this one? Really? Don't think so. That's why this is going to be over.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I'm not anyone's sidekick. What I do is best done alone. Sometimes I wish I could go back into the deep freeze for a few more decades.
You cannot save Yggdrasil, nor can you save
30
yourselves.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Great. Eddie, I guess we're doing the team-up thing again.
So we are, Spider.
Asgard has been invaded yet
Not
again.
as long as you keep that big
But
nasty
as
tongue of yours far away.
Loki shall
We
prevail.
will do our best, but we make no promises.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Anyone willing to help?
Operation World Tree, ready to commence. good team.
Against the world! Shield us!
Armed and dangerous again! Playtime's over!
Here.
Again!
Double KO!
Again!
Another fearsome foe. You needed a timeout.
You're halfway there! Keep going!
Even if his wife has to be it, he personally
World Stampede!
Clearly you needed some...
Almost there! Don't turn back now!
Goodbye.
Pretty sure those are bad guys.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Magneto!
Double KO!
Down before. Doesn't last.
They fight for a while. The Avengers show up and immediately assume that he is the only bad guy here. Even though there's an unidentified person in the whole cluster army. And nobody questions him. After everything gets shown up, Thor shows up.
You get a weapon! You get a weapon! You get a weapon!
Halfway there! Keep going!
Been knocked down before. Doesn't last.
Able to make a better whole series. But overall, not as poorly put together as any other episode of the series. Also, it has a bunch of references to Christmas movies. That's open with the quick
I am not moving again!
It's the one nowhere. And tells us that this episode is the
You thought I was gone for good.
in this universe, Ghost didn't make it to Earth in events, which ended the conflict. Specifically,
Keep forging ahead!
there are no
Sure those are bad guys.
Stick around!
and things that follow.
This place is worth a good look.
War's no place for a kid, Spidey. I don't know. That's what I need.
Come back! Armed and dangerous!
Almost there! Don't turn back now!
Which was a little weird, but I love it because Ragnarok
Spider mode!
forward. But now, this straight up makes sense. Because Thor was doing well, which is before that episode was put
Born again!
Ghost doesn't like
That's what I need.
Stick around!
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Stick around!
Look out! Behind you!
Rest easy now. You heard.
along with trying
that was gone
Then
for
Flor
good.
held her back for like 5 seconds. Now she's not crying when a single puff from her would likely render him dead due to her superhuman strength.
You get a weapon! You get a weapon! You get a web!
With just his wrist hand. Because space tech is something
Khonshu's
his
gonna
wrist
be
hand
very
cannot do.
angry.
But he's the power. Let's continue.
Gonna need more bullets.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way!
But instead of taking the
Been knocked down before. Doesn't last.
Then he prepares to conquer again, but rethinks it and chooses not to. They frame this as totally as a film, but decides to use a function. This case
The moon haunts you!
Us against the world!
Sorry about your little arm, Spectre. Armed and dangerous!
So close! This is your big chance!
You thought I was gone for good.
escort a prison. No habit. No habit. That. Rose challenged his grandson to a race to the planet he set. During this race,
Get that vehicle moving again!
That's what I need.
then
You thought I was gone for good. Moon Knight dropped one of his toys. Tell that Moon Knight's on. I'm Moon Knight.
Lock your shields!
Nothing personal.
Double KO!
I got you covered.
The moon haunts you!
Only 60 seconds left! Us against the world!
My mission isn't over yet.
that's not a great plan. That's it.
You thought I was gone for good.
No characters.
Down to 30 seconds!
Our handle spot outside of some.
What's this?
Fire mode! The final 10 seconds! We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner!
My mission isn't over yet.
Yeah, Magneto! Armed and dangerous!
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
with the process in finding the hyperstomper. Step they talked to Fury. Apparently, the story told you is that Bucky and Steve went around every time that Steve got his machine. What they didn't tell him is that there is a rule of the survivors. All the rest of I find it strange that Shield being an intelligence.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Be wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields.
There will be more than this. Apparently, the current that the Red Room Fury knows that they've discovered. Do you think his next move would be to call in a few more for all of them? Consider you
Escape pod ready. Opening escape capsule.
I will never allow Krakoa to suffer the same fate.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Moon Knight, I hear you've got a knack for tech.
Yeah, and I got friends to help.
Huh. You know, you should invest in a way to hide in the dark. Like, maybe black clothes.
The moon is white, Stark. It shines in the night. So do I.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I do hear voices in my head. You would too, if you listened.
I don't think that's the welcoming committee.
Wait from that on, it starts to hum.
Psionic burst!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
The change must have been pretty jarring for her. So Steve asked, "So, and she responded,
Take back your onk, Khonshu. Your attacks are futile. You always were a petulant child. Much better.
There's another one down.
Our adversaries gather.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
That a true god brings light, not darkness.
You always were a petulant child, Wanda.
that things like that, they go to give her a break from the world while also being able to good.
Vortex field.
Maybe I'm reading it.
This time I need healing.
Where there's one arc, there are probably more.
You cannot hurt me. Much better. No more tyrants shall rise while I stay in the charge. Fire!
Nice going, Webhead.
I feel like myself again. The moon haunts you.
Got that on video.
Rise, my friend!
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Woo! Second chances.
Leave them to Khonshu!
This artifact is quite...
Ah, here they are now. Insolent fool.
Confused the way he does.
Piece of cake.
And the very he then says,
One of Moon Knight's on Sagittarius.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
this game was anything. I just want to see the
Your powers are mine! Feel the wrath of the goddess!
Get that vehicle moving again!
That should be sufficient. Moon Knight has set a trap. You cannot hurt me.
Now. Think again.
Feel the wrath of the goddess! Charge! Fire!
Your attacks are futile. Mutants always rise again.
When Fury didn't even want Peggy going after the Hydra.
Get that vehicle moving again!
For example, another
So close!
I am Asgard's might!
I wouldn't say Peggy in the
One step
A
closer to
gift from
saving the world.
Khonshu, or perhaps a curse. Our true enemy lies beneath the planet's surface.
The moon haunts
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
when she gets attacked. Peggy somehow survives the car then starts to break through the software. He finally breaks out of the fight, which is lucky but finally being caught.
Woo! Never miss!
Rise, my friend! It seems we have company. You brought this upon yourself.
Second chances.
Get that vehicle moving again!
You get a web it! You get a web it! You get a web!
Exactly what I hoped to find.
As if being on the surface.
Poor kid.
I expected better from you, Sai. What a shame.
In his final moments.
Piece of cake.
Your powers are mine!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
Get that vehicle moving again!
Pulse charge! Fire!
You brought this upon yourself. Twisting your bones never grows old, Logan.
Get that vehicle moving again!
Heads up, we got an arm.
This will be helpful. cannot be quelled.
Once they gain Captain Marvel. Many years later, our main character Kahori falls into this lake, and in a few hours, gains more control.
Careful,
of the
Nong.
Kahori
Might be
than
others.
the people who have been there. Then he and the rest of the
Tag an enemy. One less song to worry about.
Haunts you! Our crew and one of
Only 60 seconds left.
cannot be quelled.
Where she completely forgets about me to save her village, which doesn't really fit the character's usual established to be, by the way. After the
You get a weapon! You get a weapon! You get a weapon!
I am Asgard's
There's one
might!
out there, probably more.
Hunk's taken care of.
Thunder God bringing the
Weaponize
You're
you.
for 30 seconds.
Never miss! You should be ashamed. Caution, insignificant attacks.
Look behind, look behind.
The final 10 seconds.
You set up the launcher and bring as well as before his death. Beat Ben. With white and yellow subtitles for the Hawk Ben respectively, the show was playing being cooking. That, plus the other elements of the Hawk culture make cool. First being honest. But inclusion doesn't save the more when you get on board. It'd be cooler if you just both. Episode 7. What if telepath? Takes place in England. Instead of banishing Elephant Elf, Odin destroys Odin, which is needlessly wasteful, by the way. That's a very useful weapon. Then banishes Elephant Earth, removes her powers, and limits her crown to be used by those who are weak. Similar to what you did before.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
It gets found by Leslie. Then Ella walks up and asks him. She speaks Chinese apparently, but Wesley speaks Korean. So she continues to come.
Be wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields.
Everything people accuse that he died of being. Then, I would tell her, act by me. Draw my if she still
We can no longer hide from the dangers that lie beyond our shores.
Wenwu restrains her.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Then Wenwu proposes an alliance. And he says that
If you could, Magneto, would you do what Doom has done?
If I could create a world that would be safe forever for mutants, yes, I would.
I'm hulking out!
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come get that vehicle to its destination.
I once isolated an entire species through an epic magic.
My resistance is down.
How disappointing. Much better.
I'll patch you up. Your failure was inevitable.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
It will be nice to see Avengers cover once more.
You cannot hurt me.
Here they come now.
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
attacks are futile.
Anyone willing to help?
Another one's on duck.
Armor patch here! Pay up!
My power cannot be quelled.
Oh, did you see that? See? I'm
Our foes have found us.
Clear the way.
You know the program. You're welcome.
I feel
Us against the world!
Someone scratch my back.
Disappear!
Hey, Dee! Enjoy the amplifier!
Rest now, my child. Fear Magneto!
Problem solved!
Perfect conduit for your chaos. There is no one better to protect you.
Maximum pulse!
Your attacks are
I'm
futile.
with it. Keep going!
Always prevails.
By the eye of Agamotto!
I unleash the Vishanti power!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
Which is a bit weird, but I'd say it's fun, because he reveals himself to the before, which he knows to be different. And he's really good at that. And then he
I invited the Ranger Tower. Exactly as much better.
Unexpected!
Almost there. Don't turn back now. Watch me soar!
Perfect conduit for your chaos.
Disappear!
Hey, Dee! Enjoy the amplifier!
You lose.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
We get another Peggy. He says,
Armor patch here! Pay up!
acknowledging Peggy's bravery and determination, to not only be okay with being here, but willing to try to save it. She responds,
It seems we have company.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way.
Pulse!
You cannot hurt me.
Us against the world!
Two primal forces merged as one.
in that scene,
Double kill! That's 3! Aw, it's nap time.
Down! That fucking hurt!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
Ha-ha! Problem solved! Ha-ha!
There is no one better to protect you.
You're welcome! Hey, Dee! Enjoy it! Relay deployed! It ain't cheap!
Ah, that's better.
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
What the person they're looking at right now is like. But we can't be doing this character like for too long. This is what it is. To a tiny man and a bunch of tiny his sword and nail
How disappointing.
So close!
make this
This is your big chance!
You're supposed to back you up.
I feel like myself again.
Just pop.
Perfect conduit for your chaos.
Behind you! Us against the world!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
Disappear!
Maximum pulse!
Ah, much better.
Get that vehicle moving again!
Hey, team! Enjoy the amplifier!
Fear Magneto!
You're welcome. Don't worry, Kirby. I look out for the little guy.
Another epic victory! Big win!
Yes. With the gifted university to have, she has a chance of stopping him. She believes that she needs to take it. The Walker was falling. Almost degrading him. He has not seen the things that he sees, and thus has a hope that he thinks is good. But for Peggy, it's not simply because of that. It's because of the person she is. He's the hero that was brought to save this hero. So that's what she's going to try to do. This scene creates a great contrast between the two, and I like the use of what if being a question Uatu can't escape, because he's seen so many possibilities. The clever play on the name as idea of the show. While Captain Carter ignores the what ifs to focus on what is meant. In a way, Captain Carter this season is the antithesis to what if, and maybe that's why she's well written. She finds Banner's cell, makes some guards shoot at it, and they shoot for way too long after she moves out of the way. And this causes Banner to Hulk out and break out. She rides on his back to escape and reach Tony, who shows her the device he created to find and return the Fulrun. Then Steve and company show up as well. Their plan is for the next core session to steal the scepter. While they're there, a rift opens, so Wanda tries to hold it closed. Then a fight breaks out and they try to. Eventually they do, and they activate Stark's machine, which gives Peggy a gauntlet and reveals that Steve is the Forerunner, which also somehow makes him remember how this happened. He hit the Time Stone during Infinity War, and that's what caused all of this. We'll come back to that. Peggy says the same thing she said in episode 5. Because it's happened for so many times already. But Steve says, and she agrees, but it's still hard for her. She points out that this is what always seems to happen for her and Steve. Because this is how it's ended every time for her. Steve, knowing about the multiverse, responds,
I'm sure somewhere out there. We do.
Before touching the stone and fixing everything, leaving Peggy behind. It's way better than Multiverse of Madness' insane idea that Steven loves Christine in every universe, along with the implication that he doesn't get to be with her in any. This may seem like what's doomed to happen to Steve and Peggy as far as these two have experienced, but they can also be sure that because of the nature of the multiverse, somewhere out there, they do get their happy ending. But back on the plot stuff, it doesn't make any sense. Just hitting the Time Stone screwed with the entire timeline so that these people ended up in 1602? Why does this show keep adding random insane powers to the Time Stone? If it was during Infinity War, after Hela and Loki already died, how were they here? And like I mentioned earlier, the mismatch of tech levels doesn't make sense. This whole idea is just broken, and I don't know how Steve touching the Time Stone would magically fix the timeline. Also, the rifts are never explained. They just kind of happened because of this, and now that it's fixed, they're not going to happen anymore, I guess. And when he does magically fix it, all of the effects of the people being here get undone. Except, Peggy still has the stuff she was given by the transplanted people. How? After that, Strange Supreme shows up to set up for the final episode. Then it's over. I talked a lot about what this episode did well, but overall, this plot is pretty insanely busted, and is probably more broken than I'd like to delve into, because I'm not making a long video on this episode. The good stuff doesn't make up a large portion of the episode, but it is there, and it's hard to judge exactly how much other characters are supposed to be their regular selves, so it's hard to judge whether characters are written out of character, or just different because of the time transplant thing. The characters that are there don't always make a whole lot of sense. Like, why doesn't Wanda summon more people than just Peggy to help? And if Thor thinks Peggy failed, why doesn't he ask Wanda to summon more? A large portion of this episode is fights that aren't particularly well done, and a plot that doesn't make any sense. The highs and lows of this episode make it hard to rank, but I'm going to put it at a tentative 3 out of 10. Episode 9, What If Strange Supreme Intervened? Opens with a unique What If theme Marvel Studios intro, which is kind of cool. Also back where the last episode left off. Strange Supreme brings Peggy to his headquarters, the Sanctum Infinitum, where he stores universe killers that he's captured. Strange says one has gotten out, and asks Peggy to help him save the world or several, and her response is, no. Which is the opposite of her entire character this season. She disagrees with the Watcher on that point. So she shouldn't be siding with him here. She should be willing to help. If It's only after Strange points out that she saved 1602 that she's willing to help, which is bizarre. When Peggy is about to go, she asks Strange.
Wait, Strange, what?
And he responds,
Our two my friends aren't unknown. She'll see me coming.
which still doesn't answer why he got Peggy rather than any more powerful being out there in the multiverse that would be willing to help him. When the Watcher shows up, Peggy, in an accusatory tone, asks,
Help or change, or just wait?
which is pretty hypocritical considering she just refused to help and cited Uatu as the authority that would agree with her. Then the person Peggy is looking for shows up. It's Kahori. And while she's super speeding around, Peggy somehow hits her with the shield. As they talk, Kahori says Strange is lying. Then Strange pulls him back to thank him. If Kahori knows to stay on the move to avoid him, why is she just standing here talking to Peggy? And when they see that Strange is portaling them back, she shouts, despite not using her super speed to save both of them. Strange starts attacking Kahori, and she starts telling Peggy about a forged Strange is feeding people, good and bad, from across the multiverse in hope to resurrect his universe. I have no idea how she figured this out. There isn't really a way for her to figure out that in the past he ended his own universe without him telling her, which she definitely wouldn't. And I don't know how she figured out what the Forge does either. Peggy lets out a bunch of evil Strange as traps to distract him, and they all start fighting each other for no reason. Then her and Kahori escape amongst the chaos. As they're doing this, they run into Thanos with the stones, who just holds onto Peggy's shield without actually using any of the stones. So he gets snapped by Killmonger from last season. Except he isn't even a character anymore. He doesn't say any words or attack them. He just stands there until Kahori portals him away and Peggy takes the stones. They fight Strange, and the fight is really bad, but I don't want to criticize. He doesn't say any words or attack them. He just stands there until Kahori portals him away and Peggy takes his stones. They fight Strange, and the fight is really bad, but I don't want to criticize it in depth because we'd be here all day. Partway through it, Strange portals everyone he captured to vault to the Forge. Multiple people there have the ability to fly, but they just allow themselves to fall towards it instead. Kahori portals them home because she can. Do that, I guess. Peggy punches Strange with all 6 Infinity Stones in her bare hand and doesn't die, which just should not be possible, else to fall towards it instead. Kahori portals them home because she can do that, I guess. Peggy punches Strange with all 6 Infinity Stones in her bare hand and doesn't die, which just should not be possible. She shouldn't even be able to hold one. Eventually, we get the explanation for why Strange is doing this. And apparently it's become a separate entity that controls him. Peggy knocks him into the Forge, and that's that. Doing that recreated a version of his universe where he was never born. I guess he did it that way so that he could enter into it and be the only Stephen Strange. His motivation to do this doesn't make any sense. There would be universes out there in the multiverse just like this one that already exist. He doesn't need to go through all the effort of capturing so many powerful beings to create a new one. I could have talked about this episode for far longer, because basically everything that happens is void of logic. But it's not really worth it, and I'd like to get this video over with. They screwed up what Peggy had going on this season with that part at the start where she refused to help. And Kahori continues to be Kahori, except her power levels grow by the second, and she's now among the strongest in the MCU. Probably even stronger than Thanos with all 6 Infinity Stones. Strange Supreme is inconsistent with his already poorly done characterization last season. I have a full video on his episode, you should go check it out. And the plot was nonsense the whole way through. So for as nonsensical as this episode was, it doesn't have any universe-breaking issues like multiple episodes of last season did. The plot isn't quite as bad as it could be. So I'm going to be giving this one a 2 out of 10. I'm just disappointed. Have any universe-breaking issues like multiple episodes of last season do. The plot isn't quite as bad as it could be. So I'm going to be giving this one a 2 out of 10. I'm just disappointed that the previous episodes set up some actually interesting stuff in terms of character conflict and thematics, but this episode mostly drops that and does nothing with it. With Peggy's conversation with the Watcher in the cell last episode, they presented a debate that's important to the show as a whole, in terms of whether it's worth it to get involved in the multiverse when parts of it are in danger, or whether to stay back because of all the possible ways your attempts could go wrong. In a way, the conclusion of that conversation, and then the whole episode, because Peggy prevailed, was not to ask what if, which could have been an extremely interesting direction to go in were they to follow it in this episode. If they did continue that idea, bring it to a conclusion nicely in this episode, then end the show there, I would be willing to commend it for, despite its faults, having a well thought out and interesting idea behind its conclusion. Having the What If show conclude that it doesn't really help to ask what if, then end and have no more seasons, would have given it something worthwhile in my opinion, even if it didn't save the show from its many other faults, especially those of last season. But it didn't do that, and we have at least one more season on the way. This was just a lame finale. Alongside all of its own issues, it only really builds off 3 of the previous 8 episodes, then the others show up as cameos at most, and it fails to pay off what 2 of those 3 episodes set up. And that's all the episode's done. Hello, spoiler-free people. So this season as a whole was no doubt an improvement compared to the awful last season, and it got my hopes up a little bit partway through, but it ended up disappointing me by the end. Similar to last season, there were a ton of continuity errors, plot holes, and contrivances to push the plot along, plus world building that is often very poorly thought out. Nothing as bad as the worst of last season, but it's still not holding up very well. In terms of characters, there are a bunch that are mishandled, but they also more often got characters right, or at least ruined them less, this season, and even improved upon a character from last season, although in the end what they did ended up being fumbled. Keep in mind though, I consider season 1 of What If to be the second worst thing I've ever seen, so being better than it is not much of an achievement. By the close of episode 8, I was on the edge between giving this season a 2 or a 3, but that final episode really damaged the show as a whole, so my final score for this season overall is a 2 out of 10. Although my take on each episode and the season as a whole aren't as set in stone as my takes of other videos are, because this series is so new, I haven't had as much time to think about it yet. I wouldn't consider it worth watching, but if you're going to watch any of it, I would say only watch episodes 5 and 8. They're certainly not good, but they have some good stuff in them. And if you do, absolutely do not watch episode 9. Imagine your own version of what it could be, your own what if. Because trust me, after watching episodes 5 and 8, episode 9 managed to be a major letdown in terms of being the conclusion to what happened in those previous episodes. This season is just a continued part of the MCU and Captain Marvel being bad with almost perfect consistency, even if it's less bad than the previous season. And I guess it ended up being better, because after doing season 1, the writers were more seasoned veterans. Well, that's all I had to say about season 2 of What If. Now I can never think about it again. And as always, thanks for watching.
It's one of our biggest sales of the whole year. Get the stylish sofa for just $2.95. Wow. Get up to 60% off this price.
Alright, babe, going out. Move. Me and the girls.
Yep.
He went to a Madison Beer concert, but you won't believe what happened. He managed to get to the very front row, but when Madison saw him recording during the performance, she looked him in the eyes and gave this. He went to a Madison Beer concert, but you won't believe what happened. He managed to get to the very front row, but when Madison saw him recording during her performance, she looked him in the eyes and did this. He went to a Madison Beer concert, but you won't believe what happened. He managed to get to the very front row, but when Madison saw him recording during her performance, she looked him in the eyes and did this.
Before this, yeah, 80% of English and German teachers reported that they use voice from German lessons. 49% of PSAG, or 30% of visual teachers. And to make that study such a popular teacher, if it's all criteria, show what is simple, strong symbol, complete, an age-appropriate rating that contains no graphic imagery unlike most of them. Which basically shows that a lot of people think that it is that difficult to use when teaching history and what any words that you choose to make like this is quite a move. Or in actual school, SPA. Boys the sort of young Speaking as a pure literary critic or someone who analyzes fiction, The Way the Strong is a well-written book. It might be succinct and swift, but it's also very impactful, and that's because of its slides, simulators, gaming, and subtitles. The book uses the rest of the makes it beautiful as a textbook. Really taking the understand everything that's going on and using the interpretation like the human sexual part of the book around perfect balance. Like reading, understand the interpretation in a very different way, and this means giving them a shot the book and talk about the history of the It also makes history more sensible when you become an active reader pieces together the subtext of what's actually happening. Bruno and the character is completely oblivious. Bruno and Sean represent childhood innocence. They are set up as being very similar, same age, same interests, and arriving at the company the same way, trained. This positions them as equals in all but one area, families of one entity, and that places them on different sides of the fence. Some away from the image of them sitting and talking to each other, and see that they are in very different situations. This reinforces the feelings of friendship and division, which sends the message that everyone is much right and need to fight against forces that push down some groups of people. But even then, having a specific trusted gives the universal message has its problems because it potentially distracts from the theme of history is supposed to be helping them. And those are all good points I could talk about the book. I couldn't even make it to the end. The lesson was all things that the boy in the striped pajamas gets wrong about history. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is full of blatant historical inaccuracies and a sturdy scale of inaccuracy of fiction, and not all of them are written. For example, Bruno makes a swing on a fire engine, but that wouldn't have been the type of vehicle they were using. How Bruno makes his swing is not written. What's more important is that the side characters because of the Shmuel and his family would have been unalived immediately upon arrival. A minority of people arriving would have survived, and that would have been so they could be forced to welcome, or they might have been executed. Another major thing is the book's suggestion that this
I make this look good in any timeline. Anshu smiled on us.
My favorite trick.
We are undefeatable!
Your god is suffering. Has a behind us.
Let's do this. That's supposed to hurt.
I'm fucking helpful. Someone scratch my back.
You're mine!
I've healed from 100 times worse.
Get in there.
Only 60 seconds left!
Bring on the chaos.
Gather around!
All shielded up.
Watch me go!
Let's do this.
Help get that vehicle to its destination!
Endless fury. You need their power.
Now I'm trying to make sure nobody else ever has to lose theirs.
Thank me later.
The Wolverine don't go down that easy. Looks like Namor ordered our next course. That's supposed to hurt.
What's the way, Spider-Zero?
That's supposed to hurt. I just keep coming back. I've healed
Get that
from
vehicle
100
moving
times
again!
worse.
Are you stuck in this cursed debris? No. Render me assistance.
Heads up, back
Were
guys.
they truly the best you had, Namor?
Here's how you shoot.
Looks like Namor next course.
Behind us.
You're mine.
I'll patch you up.
Oh, thought you had me.
You can put me down, but I always get back up.
Bring on the chaos.
Better than my You're mine.
This is real.
Again! The Wolverine don't go down that
Get
easy.
that vehicle moving again!
I'm doing this my way.
Squid monsters. Okay, why not?
Just as expected.
Double KO!
Like a bad penny, I just keep coming back.
It's not like
The final 10 seconds!
Let's do this.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner!
But I always get back up. Let's do this. Thanks.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Straight to the chamber. A minority of people arriving would instead work on campus experiment. So to be clear, when we are talking about this issue, we are talking about horrendous policies that the government is doing. The way we However, you must keep looking English class before you get to that point in history class, which makes it your first taught exposure to that history. An English teacher who decides to read the boy in striped pajamas with a Year 7 class might find it challenging to teach historical context in an age-appropriate way, because their expertise is in helping students grasp the English language and study its literature, not in the best ways to teach about difficult histories. If you don't address the issue directly, you might risk students not grasping the severity of the history or even misunderstanding the history in a way that's hard to unlearn. Let's turn our attention to the author himself and see how he thinks of historical facts of his own fiction. John Boyne describes the boy in the striped pajamas as a fable, and this stance is part of the book's marketing. Fables are short stories usually featuring animal characters that symbolize things from the real world to convey a moral message for readers. Now, last time I checked, Bruno is a human child and not an animal, and the places he lives are based on real places. This isn't a fable. It's a children's novel about one of the simultaneously most studied and most misunderstood parts of history, which caused immense suffering, displaced a generation of people, and still impacts the world today. This part of history must be treated with great care and consideration when portraying it in fiction. The author is aware of this to an extent, but part of the responsibility of writing about a subject so serious is ensuring that the messages about the past conveyed in the book are in line with up-to-date studies about the subject. The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas isn't even facing the same direction as the latest historical thinking. It is keen to emphasize its symbolism and themes like childhood innocence, and it does this at the expense of historical reality. In order to craft this admittedly very powerful and well-constructed story, it manipulates real events, places and people, and turns them into something unrecognizable from the truth. John Boyne has recently deleted his Twitter for good, which honestly comes with no surprise. His Twitter dramas over the years provide a good overview of his general approach towards writing about experiences that he hasn't experienced. John Boyne has recently deleted his Twitter for good, which honestly comes with no surprise. His Twitter dramas over the years provide a good overview of his general approach towards writing about experiences that he hasn't experienced himself. In April 2019, Boyne was getting ready for the publication of his latest book, My Brother's Name is Jessica. Misgendering one of the main characters in the title isn't a great start. You might give the book the benefit of the doubt and expect it to be about a younger brother who is on his way to understanding and supporting him. But then you read it and realise it's actually all about how difficult and inconvenient it is for family. Jessica herself takes a backseat in this book that's supposed to represent her. So basically, My Brother's Name is Jessica just rehashes the same general theme as The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Except this time we're talking about gender rather than the Second World War. The John Boyne approach. Take the experience of a whole group of people, do minimal research about them, and then actually write a story about people outside that experience and make them the sufferers of the situation instead. In the classic cycle of book Twitter, Boyne was not happy about all this criticism and concern. So he went to traditional media to complain about those mean internet trolls from the museum? Yes, he got into a Twitter fight with a museum specialising in the same history he wrote about in The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. The museum shared their opinion that The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas shouldn't be used as a teaching tool, to which Boyne replied that he had no intention of reading the article he shared because it contained important factual inaccuracies like exactly how many millions of copies his book had sold. Then he went on to say that it's impossible for fiction to be factually inaccurate, and complained about the new dictators trying to define discourse, control literature, and instigate online attacks. I know that real writers are writing from the gut, regardless of the abuse that comes their way. And yeah, writers do write from the gut, it's how they achieve those emotional punches. But good historical fiction writers will also write from their research. Luckily, a few months later, we were given a glimpse into Boyne's research process for his historical novels. Now, as a reminder, this is a man who considers himself a student of history and who claims to do painstaking research for each historical novel. One Reddit user was enjoying their current read, a serious example of historical literary fiction, when they spotted something unexpected. The main character's ingredients for a clothing dye contained a list of materials from Breath of the Wild, a fantasy video game. You can't make it up. If you search red clothes dye ingredients, then the suggested answer is a list from a tutorial. Now, Boyne brushed this off like, whoopsie, silly me, everyone makes mistakes, and isn't this a funny one? But this instance suggests how Boyne carries out his historical research. He starts writing, gets to a detail he doesn't know, types in a basic search into Google, and lifts the first thing that comes up. The final straw for Boyne's internet presence came a few months ago with the announcement of a sequel for The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Obviously that news got a lot of takes from book Twitter, and people had no problem dragging up the annual John Boyne drama. And then he decided to do good, which was probably a good decision. He isn't the only one who's doing themselves no favours with his direction. John Boyne might think that but historical fiction shapes
the right heroes could make all the difference.
Anyone stands in my way, they won't be standing much longer.
Be wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields. never allow Krakoa to suffer the same fate as Genosha.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Next time you and Colossus perform your fastball special, do remember to call me Logan.
Why would I do that, bub?
I am one of the few who can throw the both of you.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
These dudes still hide themselves behind metal masks? The fools.
Another fearsome foe.
Just embrace the light.
Danny needs help. Wasn't very nice, was it?
Enemy combatant.
They shall not escape our wrath now.
Your arc is history. Hostile forces incoming.
Much better. Your attacks are futile.
Watch your back.
Side is showing you. How delightful.
One more for the soul.
A gift from conscience, or
Sorry,
perhaps a
you
curse.
made this mess, Spectre.
Much better.
Enemy ahead. Prepare to engage.
Back up under their noses.
I am ready to put on a show.
Magneto!
Double KO.
Weapon of war, Castle. Have to fight together to victory.
Co-op time. Shields up. We need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
The moon haunts you!
I feel like myself again.
Just embrace the light. Better stop that vehicle.
Limbo stands with you!
We are undefeatable.
Judge, jury, executioner!
They rated half lane. Stop them. Stop that vehicle.
Lights out.
Double KO. That's 3.
I shall not be removed so easily.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Nothing traps me!
Let's pop back up.
They look like they mean business.
And I'm curious.
Much better.
Ain't doing this. I am
Insignificant mass.
Fear Magneto!
We are undefeatable! You stuck them in their tracks!
Myself again.
Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing one of the most controversial
Your brother would be proud.
I've set it apart in film history as one of the most explicit movies ever made. And to understand why we need to look at the story itself. I'll go ahead and
Limbo stands with you!
Was that truly your best?
I am ready to put on a show!
Much better.
The book was first published in 1928, just 10 years after World War I ended, and then 2 years after that, in 1930, it was then made into a movie by the Universal Studios. The book politics of 1930 were complicated to say anything. Again, World War I was ended, and would be too long before World War II began. So during this time, director Louis Smiley himself was playing the World War I.
Now I see them. Magneto! Doesn't feel to be one of the good guys.
They decided to make a film that would show audiences at large for the first time what war was doing. As you can imagine, that led to a lot of backlash, but we'll talk about that later.
Your brother, my strength returns.
Judge, jury, execute!
Magneto!
I'm an easy target.
Only 60 seconds left!
It
seems we have company.
This story is a accusation.
Plasma!
For death is not an adventure for those who stand face to face. It reflects that even though they may have escaped show, also they get the despite being made
We are undefeatable! Down to 30 seconds!
Your powers are
I am ready to put on a show! I am ready to put on a show! The final 10 seconds!
Someone has us in their sights.
With you! Another epic victory!
Told me that if you have a face turn to a clip, it can typically get either an ID system, which, if you're watching this right now, it doesn't work, and thank you for it. I feel that the clips that I showed in the video are important to get across the purpose of this video, and I don't have commentary to give you while I'm watching the clips, because that's what the rest of the video is. So instead, let's let the spirit element to see if it works. I'm going to be in the top corner of the clips you're watching, passive aggressively eating comments, and we'll see if YouTube considers this transformative. So, cheers to YouTube. We really couldn't do it without you. So if all of that sounds interesting to you in a dark, brutal, semi-depressing sort of way, which, welcome to the channel, then stick around as we break down All Quiet on the Western Front. But before we do that, let's hear from someone who is, surprisingly, in a much darker place than I am right now. Why, hello there. You're probably in the great outdoors, And the answer is, I'm simply enjoying the magic of nature. And you know, I'm actually
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Spaghetti. You asked me if I had to do all
Be
this.
wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields.
Hope you all check them out. Got two people discussing the state of the world. We are going to go ahead and get into it, but as always, thank you for watching. After the title card that I mentioned in the intro, we got the two people discussing the state of the German army at the beginning of World War I. As they opened the doors to the street, the film is quickly established. The German army marching off the war are treated as heroes. Dates and specific battles are never mentioned.
For so long, I fought for
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Our time has finally arrived.
Mentions that tomorrow
you're here? Good thing I replaced most of the metal components in my armor with carbon nanotubes a while back.
A single copper wire is all I need to strangle you, Stark. Should I choose to do so?
Oh, yeah, right. Remind me who signed it on.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I'll take a cosmic clash over fighting vampires any day.
Hold these images and the idea of this in your mind when we see the same stream later in the film. We didn't see a classroom, with the windows wide open.
I don't think that's the welcoming committee.
As the teacher is urging young on with us. The teacher speaks how much
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
I'll see you, Yonk.
The teacher even directed
The mission area is yours.
Perimeter secure. We did it.
Mother will be 2 weeks on Send a Son to the country. The men hearing this begin to envision what their idea of war is. They imagine the cheers and holding up as these proud warriors stepping up to their people. They imagine the women of women as these soldiers with them listening. Then the teacher begins to call on them specifically, asking why certain individuals have enlisted yet. One of the voices comes through the same call. He says the call is an advisor. Again, the story of the West Front series was written by Lamar. However, Paul was the same story. So the experience of Paul is the experience that Mary had. This country, and with that, the rest of the you cannot hurt me.
Bro, why is that there?
My power cannot be quelled.
The smiling and yelling faces of the boys and the proud, happy face of their teacher. The boys begin to say things that are laughably
My dearest sister, if only you had joined me. Watch your tail! Hostile forces incoming.
Behold the god of thunder!
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
But after that, a couple phrases that
Magneto!
This is the first moment of says whatever you do, do it wisely. Again, this introduction shows us the arrogant
Goodbye. My realm is the great river.
They've almost got it!
You cannot hurt me. Much better.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
You brought this upon.
Dang.
Bayonet drills or how to shoot a rifle. The first dose of reality comes whenever their former mailman, Himmel, the guy shown in conversation at the introduction of the movie,
I will do what it takes to protect my people, no matter the price.
Himmel is all about orders and following orders, decides to put them in line. He has them marked for hours and hours on
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
This quickly establishes that the war isn't going to be as fun
It's always
as
an
they
honor
thought
to
it
watch
would.
you work, Susan.
Also, during this time,
Really?
we start
Me?
to get
But you're one of the best spies in the world, Natasha. Your powers make my decades of stealth training obsolete.
Get shots like this.
You're a legend.
Thanks.
Now, would you mind telling my brother that?
Impressed by the day standards as well.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
So the majority
We'll do this the same way we always do. Together.
that you see employed later in the film were taught to them by German soldiers. So it seems like this, we're just watching Germans do what they did in the war. Because of
Here they are now.
They get you out one night, wrap them in a bed.
What those murals mean, but they can't be good.
Mission area is yours to capture now.
We also not in our favor.
Capture the mission area!
Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
These shots of like looking through the window and seeing this group of men walk forward, kind of being detached from the reality they're facing, and cutting back to the person, it's good.
You cannot hurt me.
Behold the god!
You need their power. Mutants always rise
The
again.
small group of soldiers they're essentially refilling are the survivors of previous battles, meaning calling stepping into the soldiers.
Your team's capture progress is past the halfway point.
Fear Magneto!
They can't go out this way.
I shall not be removed so easily.
And it becomes apparent that the soldiers are very undersupplied. We see this as the group's only way of achieving food is through my favorite character.
They've almost got it!
The moon haunts you!
You can see this as Link is group from stealing an entire pit. And then in the follow-up, whenever he returns to a group of soldiers, they see him as a superior officer and stand at attention and can't get scared.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner.
Feel the wrath of the Hornets!
Before saying this, that's stupid, and don't do that again. And then whenever Cat's friends see that all he brought back was one pig, he says that he wished they just...
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
That is, as you can see, a lot of people. But he's also the cornerstone that the boys use to navigate throughout the film. As terrible things happen, Cat is constantly there to reassure them that it's not their fault, it's just part of the war. In a weird way, he's sort of a straight man for a lot of things to experience. Because if he can witness all of this and still be okay, then maybe the others have a chance to come. After this, the group is deployed to their first job, wiring. World War I, for those who weren't connected, was primarily war. Along these trenches, barbed wire was placed in order to stop any oncoming attack. Now, you can't do this during the daytime because the potential attackers will, kill you for it. So at night, soldiers would quietly sneak out of the trenches.
They've made it halfway!
As
Stop
they
them!
start to go to front lines, there's this shot where several of the boys look back and shrug.
Alas, we can no longer hide from the dangers that lie beyond our shores.
Keep this shot.
Better stop that vehicle! They hit a checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
Set the trap.
Cat looks at him and says, it's okay.
Double KO!
Insignificant gnats.
That one hurts.
This is what I mean by
Nothing personal. Rebirth is a mutant's greatest gift.
About this scene where they crawl out into unimportant fire. The director went to his projections for essentially alternate soldiers and teach him how to
Better stop that vehicle!
So these German veterans instructed the cast
Ah, here they are now.
Now or never! Stop them! I am ready to put on a show! Disappear! Don't give them another inch! Or else!
They all make it back to the trench except for Kid, who gets caught out in the field and he is then blinded by this explosion.
The moon haunts you! Born and dangerous!
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
As Ben begins to run in the direction, he is cut down by blood. One of the boys, Timmerin, decides to go save him. He runs Ben back to the main bridge and asks Timmerin why he would do it. Timmerin says that it's his friend, it's Ben. The cat says it's just a corpse. It definitely not worth it.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging. I'm Luna Snow.
Sure, they knew
Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
Even then, there was this balance to it, and the idea that everyone is treated as heroes, even in death. But as they stand in front of No Man's and a field of bodies, both friend and enemy, who no one can bring back home, the valor begins to fade. We then see that the group is staying in a dugout in the front line, as artillery fire is the constant of every hour, every day. The ground rattles and shakes, and therefore the fire is. They mentioned that this was only
All I ever wanted to do was sing, really.
Again, Cat continues to be the foundation.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
He mentions that 2 other dugouts have been wiped out.
With my light daggers and your soul sword, we can handle anything they throw our way. Our foes will be wise not to underestimate us. But they will. They always do. Just because we're young, pretty, and female.
Things like
Then let that be their final mistake.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
What a beautiful place. Even when it's almost drowned by Loki's cynical lies.
Time to train.
Watch out, they're headed our way!
People feel screaming.
Need some help.
I was on the brink. I'll get you next time.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Watch out from beyond.
A
nice deep freeze. I was in trouble.
Then shortly after this,
I'm back in the fight.
Some of the shots in this scene of the men in the trenches and the quiet moments though are incredible. Scenes like this are really structured by the war. Here's this
Mission area is yours.
Careful, like the others.
I was worried.
All clear, no more on.
It turns out leave them to Khonshu. While discussing the trench scene, one of the German extras mentioned that watched French soldiers grab onto the bottom line,
Another one gone dark,
and all that was left was his hands. A loose mouse and stuff this was impactful.
I was worried.
Captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
See them? Right there. Thanks.
The moon haunts you! The moon haunts you!
I've still got songs to sing.
All from a soldier who not possibly know what his legacy would be. It's bizarre.
Glory is almost yours.
This soldier is
I'm good to go.
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Much better.
Yeah, it was me taking down Loki. That's right.
I need medical support.
That means the legacy of one life taken in minute. There's something about it. Germans began to shoot back with belt-fed machine guns, bolt-action rifles. Eventually,
music makes people happy. Heroes make them sing.
For the Dark
Maybe
Child.
I can do both.
The Dark Child is ready to
And
awaken.
Time for my biggest hit.
It's considered pretty obscene to depict someone dying.
30 seconds before you attack. Get
And
ready.
here we have a brutal, violent fight. Even by
That's an
today's
impressive piece of equipment you've got there.
Yeah. By the looks of it, they called the wrong one of us Iron Fist, kid.
When my chi is fully focused, my hand is 10 times as strong as yours.
After what Hydra did to me, I wouldn't be so sure.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I mean, it's the same thing by today's
Time stream entanglement. What the hell does that mean?
Campaign that shows it's always just cool guy hero shows. College, for some reason. Audiences that expect love the
I was worried.
There's a ship.
A nice deep freeze.
Just in time. Thanks.
The mission area is yours.
One down.
The two shots are the direction utterly different. It's as if the only difference is the direction of the ball. As the survivors battle from the late of the events of Congress, they have another defense. From the remains on the battlefield, they have blood from the break over the most wine and moment of rest. The next day,
Bruh.
I'm hit pretty bad.
Thanks.
The ship
Enemy ahead of us. Be strong together.
because of the 150 men in the company. There's a short fight.
Your powers are mine!
A nice deep freeze.
Max!
Stay away from her.
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going. I am ready to put on a show.
Stronger than ever.
Ounce and pieces. I like the cold.
Here is almost yours.
Stand strong and defend this place.
I'm sure they were.
I've still got songs to sing.
Control lost.
I'm doing this my way.
Blaze of glory.
Thanks so much.
Can't you never?
I'm making a comeback.
Either side of what? Side kings, generals, and business.
You get a weapon, you get a weapon, you get a weapon!
Control seized.
Free fire zone.
When they get there,
Got your back. Sure those are bad guys.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I was worried.
It's immediately like, oh,
Max?
Since you won't be needing them.
Another epic victory. Big win.
They sound very it's more he doesn't recognize the psychological damage or the weight of what's happening. He's just likes his friend's boots. All stays come to him. His heart will get better. Emmerich says that in his watch right outside the doctor saying that the patient with an amputation is in trouble. The doctor remarks that he's done over a dozen amputations today. And he's got another
You'll
one
need a
to go
top-notch
through
team to win this one.
I'm Luna Snow.
Hospital.
Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
Whenever we see Paul leave the hospital while holding Kenrick's boots, we know that Kenrick didn't make it. There's this interesting series of shots where we see that Mjolnir gets the boots, and while wearing them, he gets killed. We then see the boots go on to another soldier. Then while knitting, he gets killed. And it's not to say that boots are so bad. It's not great. But more so, just the idea that soldiers
Superpowers are amazing. Also, the ice effects look great on stage.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Feel homesick that the woman shouldn't have to take care of the
The way you
herself.
move. You're an assassin just like me, aren't you?
This guy.
I was. Once. But now, that life seems so long ago. It's in our blood, and in the blood we spill. That part of us never changes. I wish you were wrong.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I am a long way from the force of Kirisaki. Here they come now. I like the cold. I'm hurt. Someone needs a snowball in the face.
Enemy down.
Thanks. Wish I could hear you back.
next day during the battle,
It's okay. I
his
get
smile
it. You need me.
know that he's got his comrade. And sure enough, his gun turns in, they charge forward, Himmel gets scared.
That topped me off. Thanks.
Fight, and Himmel makes more funny moves.
I was worried. It's okay. I get it. You need me.
Don't mind me.
I expect to come up particularly as
We're finding our groove.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Is because there's more it's the superior officer's work. Just follow progress.
I am more
So here
than
we get
just a
this
trickster.
pseudo-courage, because that's what the orders tell you to do. And that's Himmel is horrible.
Do I feel like a girl? I like the cold. Keep going, lullabies.
I was worried. We're finding our groove.
Prey has been noted.
What do I do for an encore? Stops us from getting this statue to
Judge! Jury! Executioner!
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Maximum pulse!
Thanks so much.
Eventually, he begins to make some moves. He says that it wasn't the uniforms that the two friends.
I spy some bad guys.
Your god is suffering.
This package is for T'Challa only.
I am ready to put on a show. The Punisher is in turret mode.
I will unleash the mighty havoc.
That's it. Don't let anything stand in your way.
Your powers are mine!
I like the cold.
Maximum pulse!
Yeah, that was me taking down the So close. This is your big chance.
The sacred carving of Bast must reach its destination.
Another epic victory. Big win.
Playing a soldier from to never put the Cat says it's okay, and it's just because he had to kill someone for the first time, and it's not his fault in the game. It's just war. The men have a few days to rest and go to the bar. While at the bar, all these friends begin talking about women. Now, it would sure be cool to see a few. The next day, while bathing in the river, they see a group of women walking on the bank across from them. The men try to coax the women into the water, and after the women are interested, they decide to show them that they have food, and then the women want them to come over. It's not mentioned a lot, but this is a hint of the position that the French civilians are in during the war. The war for everyone, and those near the battlefield, just as the soldiers, had nothing to eat. After a guard tells the men they can't cross to the other bank, the women ask them to sneak out later that night. Also, during this bathing scene, the men are fully naked, and while nothing's shown in the movie because all the sensitive parts are below water, that was considered like blasphemy in 1930. Like, this movie got blasted by a lot of groups, which we'll talk about. And one of the reasons it's blasted was for this and scene involves. Also, movies that were controversial but also funny. There's this one guy in the group named Jordan, He's one of Caxman, who's a secret soldier. We're not part of the main boys. He was in the military. A character that filmed the movie shows Charlie, like his character in World War I, just doing comedic stuff because audiences like him so much. And next to Cat, he is my favorite character of the film.
That's why billions of maintenance and repair for
So that night, the men sneak out, again naked, to go see the French women. And after the women give them clothes to wear, they give the women the food, and the women are very excited to see the food, and then they romance the women. Now, nothing is shown, there's nothing explicitly said either, but what we get is a shot of an open doorway with the shadow of a bed frame cast onto the wall as Paul explains to this woman how important she is to them, and the fact that they can't even speak the same language as a deter from the fact that he'll remember her forever. Now, this was over the moon in 1930. During this time, you never showed men and women hand-holding, for that matter, much less the implication of an unmarried man taking this French woman to bed. The Flintstones was considered controversial because it depicted Fred and Wilma in the same bed. Not doing anything in bed, just the concept of a husband and wife having one bed instead of two. So the scene was a lot, but it is again accurate to the experience of several soldiers. These boys want to carry out the dreams they've had for the rest of their life, like being with women. And despite seeking comfort, the only women they can be with are ones who can never possibly understand them. And this scene, while maybe not comfortable for audiences at the time, was certainly accurate. The next day, as they begin to march out into battle, they're attacked by artillery fire. For the first time, Paul is injured by shrapnel. He's also injured alongside his friend Albert, and the two of them go to a Catholic hospital. While there, a man named Hammaker, who's been in the hospital for a while, explains to them that as soon as someone dies or is close to death, they immediately move them from the bed and take their clothes so that they can put someone in their place. Because the battlefield never has a shortage of dying men. This is shown as when a man collapses, within seconds, the orderlies have already remade the bed. Paul's friend Albert has both of his legs amputated, and as he struggles to come to terms with this, Paul is sent home on leave. As Paul goes home, he's certainly a different man from the one who left. He's now disillusioned, broken from the things he's seen. Remember that street we saw earlier with the parade and cheering women as these proud heroes march off to war? Well, here's that street now. Businesses going under as the economy begins to collapse, and a child playing with a soldier's kit. As Paul gets home, he's greeted by his sister, and then wishes to see his mother, who's become very ill. There's something about this scene as Paul comes home to his mother. And I don't know if they told Beryl Mercer, the actress who plays Paul's mother, if this was her son, or if she's to act like it's her son returning from war. But man, her performance gets me. There's this melancholy to the entire time Paul's home, where despite being in his old house and wearing his old clothes, he's not the same boy who left them alone. This is emphasized whenever Paul goes to eat with his father and his father's friends. Among them is the teacher who convinced Paul and his friends to go enlist. As they toast him and talk about his valor in the war, the teacher begins to say how marvelous it is that he's a soldier fighting for the fatherland. There's also this really quick mention that says a lot without saying a lot that I appreciate. As the teacher is talking to Paul, it says this.
Oh, you can teach the food out there. It's worse. Of that background, folded all the time. I saw my home.
But as we know, the soldiers have barely anything to eat at all. What they do get is scraps and leftovers. Because the people back home whose country is falling apart are being told that, no, it's not because we can't supply food, it's just because we give the best to our boys on the front lines. But as we know, there is no best. This is all there is. And the propaganda that these people believe is that they are suffering for the betterment of others. And the people on the front lines believe that they are suffering for the betterment of others. But in actuality, everyone's suffering together. As they're talking, the teacher begins to pull out maps of the battlefield and immediately begins warning to Paul, talking about what the army needs to do in order to win the war. And as Paul begins to say that this is the last thing he wants to hear about, and how terrible battling on the front lines really is, the teacher begins to tell him, well, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, sure, you know the battle and warfare, but I'm actually smart and have read books, so therefore I know how this war's supposed to play out. And then from that, all of the men, besides Paul, begin arguing what the best strategy of the German army really is. And as they begin to yell and shout, Paul just gets up and leaves, and they don't even notice. Like I said, Paul is used to show the experiences of the author, Eric Remarque. And while everything that Paul's seen is a conglomeration of Eric's own experience and the experience of other veterans, as mentioned like with the hands on the barbed wire earlier, Eric particularly talked about how whenever he got home, the men would constantly be pressing him to talk about how great war is. And whenever he would answer with the horrors of war, they would say, oh, well, you just don't know what you're talking about then. And while it's easy to condemn these people for their ignorance in the face of reality, and the story does here in just a moment with the teacher, but this is the same mindset that the boys had setting off to war. It took a lot of death and a lot of heartbreak for them to realize how brutal warfare really is. The movie never has a moment where it sits down, looks at the camera, and says, war is always immoral, and if you ever fight anyone for any reason, that's bad. Instead, it serves as a warning for mindlessly sending boys out to die in someone else's war. And it does that simply by just portraying stories that soldiers experience. That opening sequence at the beginning, this is not a condemnation or a confession. Steven Spielberg once said that all war movies are inherently anti-war. And while I believe the truth is a bit more nuanced to that, there is truth in that, because simply showing warfare is the biggest proponent against it. The next day, as Paul is walking through town, the teacher asks Paul to come speak to a group of boys about how great the war is and how they should all join up in order to save the fatherland. And when Paul gets there, he does not do that.
I can't tell you anything you don't know. Live in the trenches out there. Fight. Try not to be killed. Sometimes we are. That's all. No. No, Paul. I'm business. I know what it's like. That's not what I'm built on, Paul. Like the same old stuff. Making more Iron Men, more young heroes. You still think it's beautiful and sweet to die for your country. We used to think you knew. First bombardment of us better. Dirt, pain to die for your country. When it comes to dying for your country, it's better not to die at all. Millions out there dying for their country. What good is it? Last minute tell them how much they're needed out there. He tells you, go outside. But it will possibly it's easier to say go outside than it is to do it. Easier to say it. Don't watch it happen.
While looking in the faces of these young kids who were in the same position that Paul was a few years ago, Paul says that he needs to get back to the front lines right now, because he needs to fight so that more of them are needed. That night, his mom sets up with him, asking him not to go back, and how he needs to be careful and get a job behind the lines. He doesn't have to be in danger. And it's, man, it's a lot. But Paul is not the same boy who left her years ago. He's now a different man who is determined to fight so that others don't have to. The next day, after Paul returns from the front lines, he comes to find that no one he knew is still there, meaning more than likely they've all been killed in one battle or the other. As a matter of fact, the boy out front is only 16 years old. So just as in the beginning of the film, whenever Kat and Jodin had Paul and his friends come in as replacements, now Paul is the seasoned warrior who's having more children come in to back him up. But as Paul is sitting there, sure enough, Jodin walks back in, and the two are reunited. Jodin was out looking for food, so Paul begins to ask him of everyone who was there when he left. Westus, one of his friends, died while trying to save a wounded messenger dog.
Where's Westus? Messenger dog was wounded. He went out to get it.
And the man who earlier missed his wife and his farm back home attempted to desert, but was caught by the German army.
Where's Dana? She got homesick. Remember about the cherry bus? I guess she never goes. She started out one night to go home and help his wife with the farm. We got him behind the line. We never heard of him. He was just homesick. Probably they couldn't see it that way.
But thankfully for Paul, Kat is still alive. And Jodin mentions that if Kat were to die, they'd probably have to call the war off. Paul asks where Kat is, and Jodin mentions the direction he is, saying that he's out looking for food. The two are reunited, and Paul begins to tell Kat of how he now feels like a stranger back home, and the war is really all he has left.
Tell me, how did it go? Have a good lead? In spots. What's that? Oh, I'm no good for back there anymore, Kat. None of us are. We've been in this too long. The young men thought I was a coward because I told them that we learned that death is stronger than duty of one's country. The old men said, go on, push on to Paris. My father even wanted me to wear my uniform. It's not home back there anymore. All I could think of was, I'd like to get back to see Kat. You're all I've got left, Kat. I'm not much to have left. I've missed you.
Kat begins to talk and mentions that it seems like the war should be over, and it doesn't seem they've got a lot of fight left in them.
Push on to Paris. You want to see what they've got on the other side. It's white red. They've got dozens of airplanes in World War I, and tanks that'll go over anything. What have we got? Guns, no war, that drop shells on our own men. No food, no ammunition, no ocean. So that's the way they come back.
But that regardless of what happens, they've got each other, stick by each other's side. As they begin to walk back, the bomber flies overhead and drops an explosive. A piece of it hits Kat in the leg, and Kat's now unable to walk, so Paul begins to carry him. As Paul is carrying Kat, a second bomb is dropped, and this one seems to not harm either of them. A little known to Paul at the time, a piece of shrapnel struck Kat in the neck. And whenever Paul makes his way back to the field hospital, he finds that Kat is dead. Kat was Paul's final connection back to all of this. He hates the war, and he doesn't fit in at home. And Kat was his friend. He was a man that he was close to, and really his only foundation that he had left to keep running on. So now, as Paul is stationed on the front line, it seems that everything's just kind of pointless. So one day, while waiting out on the front for something to happen, Paul sees a butterfly land just outside of the trench in front of him. Paul stands up and reaches out a hand to try to pick up this butterfly, and as he does, a French sniper spots him. And as Paul reaches forward, gunshot rings out, and his hand falls to the earth. We now have our final shot of the film, as we see the scene from earlier where the boys looked back at the truck leaving them as they stepped out on their first deployment, now overlaid with the graves of those who died in World War I. Every face who looked back, now lying among the dead. All these stories, all of these personalities and people we once knew, now among the white crosses in a field in France. And with that, we have the ending of All Quiet on the Western Front. As I mentioned earlier, the experiences of this story are based on the perspective of the author Eric, And obviously Eric didn't die in the war as he had to write the book, but the send-off to the character is how one of many deaths could have occurred. The title of the story comes from something that Eric read while he was at home on leave. In the newspaper, he was reading updates about the war, and the paper was talking about Germany's great victories on the Eastern Front and how great the war was. And then in the West, nothing new. Although Eric knew the truth, he had watched several of his friends die in battles very strong, and he determined he was losing. So in order to keep morale,
The right heroes could make all the difference.
I mean us now. Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
The paper simply said, the West. And with that, Eric is showing how the entire war, the lives and stories of these men were demolished in an instant. With artillery fire, French warfare, and how their deaths amounted to cannon fodder. It was always someone else's war, never just the front's fighting. And while we experience these things, while we have a close relationship with his mother, his personal history of the
All I ever wanted to do was sing, really.
As far as the people know, it's all quiet.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
This movie came out, in the United States there were various groups within like the
You came back from the future to fight with us?
It was critically acclaimed, and several viewed the violence and graphics and depicted
Whatever that means, but you weren't gonna fight with us, right?
As a matter of fact, in 1951, the movie became the first film to win both the Best Picture and Best Director.
The battle starts in 5,
And to this day, it's
4, 3, 2, 1.
However, at the time, especially in Europe, this was
We need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
That one hurt. Don't go like this,
would take
I've still got
from other countries so that they could watch the film. Lou Ayres, the actor who played Paul in the film, was a conscientious objector during World War II. Because of that, several of his movies were banned and released in the United States. Eventually, Lou was expelled the film, and so he goes to battle.
Stop them!
Occasions. And speaking of his movie stars, to me, Will is the best.
I appreciate you. Yeah, there's still a chance to stop them. Double KO.
Another hit for Luna Snow.
That's 3.
That one hurts.
Every time they said they didn't want to play, they didn't.
I was worried.
Clearly, you needed some help. Get out of the turret and face us, Punisher!
Are we sure Loki's down?
We make a good team.
I'm a problem your gun can't
There they
solve.
are. I like the cool.
Stop them in their tracks!
Behold the god!
What? Did I just beat Thor? Oh, I was worried. Us against the world!
Assemble!
A nice deep freeze.
Oh, a touch of cooling. Run the exploding plasma!
I like the cool.
You stop them in their tracks!
That's some heavy artillery.
We're finding our grace. I was worried.
you could hear every jolt of blood
Judge, jury, executioner! Judge, jury, executioner!
Not everything's black and white, Frank.
I'm making a comeback.
I'll find on the Western front. It's just saying it's a lot faster. It's understanding. And there's several anti-war films that depict warfare through brutality that go on to do the same things or different things than this movie did. Films like
Punisher's returned. That one hurts. I like it. Only 60 seconds left.
Target neutralized.
That's a good feeling.
Your powers are mine!
I am ready to put on a show! Down to 30 seconds.
From the exploding plasma.
It's okay. A nice deep freeze.
The final 10 seconds.
I'm making a comeback.
We rarely get the chance to see people who are really there.
Another epic victory.
They make something great. Give Spielberg a few words in the show and this film every so difficult. And through their tales, the movie depicted a brutality unknown to many of the time. Again, keep thinking about the hands that make soldier and a legacy that will supersede for a century to come. Whenever I speak about some war stories, I say that I feel important that these stories be remembered and that these tales live on through us and beyond us. And it seems that myself and the movie would agree on that. And it's for that reason I think it's important to share. And hopefully if you stuck around this long, you think it's important, or at least think it's kind of cool, and I do too. And that's really cool. And I just want to say thank you for watching. I love this film a lot, if you couldn't tell. I remember whenever I had heard about it a lot, just like, oh, it's the anti-war film, you have to watch it. And after I watched it for the first time, I thought I have to do it. So if you stuck around this long, like I said, I love this movie, and I think it deserves to be. But that's enough talking about that. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate your all support in watching me talk about Black and White movie that none of us were alive when the making of. So, you all look really good, and I appreciate it. Unless there's someone who's like 91 watching this right now, in which case, you're fantastic. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I love this movie a lot. I greatly appreciate what it did, and I just thought it was worth sharing with you all. So thank you for watching once again. Thank you for the support on the last video. So for those who probably don't know, I botched the upload to the Frankenstein film, or the Frankenstein video. My head's buzzed so much watching movies for days on end. I know how terrible of a life I have. Really thank you all for the opportunity to do this, make videos like this. But I botched the Frankenstein upload because I tried to make it a premiere, because YouTube's like, oh, premieres will help engage audience. I'm like, okay, I'll try it, and it ruined it. In like the time period when my videos normally get like 400,000, 500,000 views, it had 40,000. So I'm like, okay, I'll just try re-upload. But then that messed with the algorithms. It was like a double upload or whatever. And I was just like, well, I guess this video is trash. Good job, me. But then you all continue to show support. I think it's around like 600,000 now. So it's really cool that after I thought I had just like ruined a video, that you all still showed up and supported it. And that means a lot. So thank you for watching that. And if you don't know, because again, I messed with the whole thing, there's a Frankenstein video, the video before this one on my channel. And I thought it was pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, do it. And again,
Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about one of the most important and misunderstood stories in the entirety of the English language, Frankenstein. The original edition of Frankenstein. Was written by Mary Shelley in 1818, and from there, the story's combination of romantic and gothic themes laid the creation for horror as we know it today. However, while many of you are probably familiar with the concept of Frankenstein's monster and the literal hundreds of adaptations the stories have, a lot of people overlook the depth and impact the original tale holds. So today, we're going to give the story the justice it deserves and go through the story together and see what made it so special. And it would be amiss to talk about Frankenstein without mentioning some of the adaptations. Depending on how long it takes me to go through the original book, we may be looking at the original 1931 film at the end of this video, unless I end up talking about the plot of a 200-year-old book for longer than like an hour, which is pretty on brand at this point. In which case, we'll save the adaptations of Frankenstein for another day. Also, what gave me the idea to do this video is I'm currently working my way through the works of Junji Ito, and he made an adaptation of Frankenstein. And some of his artistic representations of the character are by far my favorite. So when you see black and white, terrifying images that look like this, just know that's where they're from. But I'm happy to talk about this story. His artistic representations of the character are by far my favorite. So when you see black and white, unless I end up talking about the plot of a 200-year-old book for longer than like an hour, which is pretty on brand at this point. In which case, we'll save the adaptations of Frankenstein for another day. Also, what gave me the idea to do this video is I'm currently working my way through the works of Junji Ito, and he made an adaptation of Frankenstein. And some of his artistic representations of the character are by far my favorite. So when you see black and white, terrifying images that look like this, just know that's where they're from. But I'm happy to talk about this story because, in my opinion, it was the groundwork for analyzing the human form and consciousness and science itself as the foundation of human terror. When the book was written, most stories revolved around the idea of the indomitable human spirit, or its idea that humanity phases. Whereas Frankenstein, its original title, Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, flips the table on this idea and says that while man is capable of great achievement, they are also capable of great terror. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around as we break down the story of Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. Before I deliver some more first knowledge, let's make sure you're getting first the right way. Today's sponsor.